Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Hooray! Just found out the cricket Joe Biden's DOJ not secretly, attacked my Twitter account, making it a point not to let me know. We just found out that that's not true. Untrue. Yes. Yeah. About this major hit on my civil rights. My political opponent is kind of crazy, trying to infringe on my campaign for president. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Does the First Amendment still exist? Did deranged Jack Smith tell the unselects to destroy and delete all the evidence? That didn't happen either. What? That didn't happen either. These are dark days in America. Thank you. No, perfect timing. One more.
Oh, okay.
I think crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent.
Did he spell dumb D-U-M?
He should have.
Yeah. I believe he's gone mad. Oh, projection much? A stark raving lunatic with his horrible and country-threatening environmental open borders.
I know, and then he goes into this
JFBI weaponization policies. He's a mental catastrophe that's leading our country to hell.
Good morning. I'm here and he's not all there.
Right.
Nicely said, sir. Just from your perch on the school board, let me just let's review. Ron DeSantis. So no Shakespeare being taught. Gay penguins still okay, or no gay penguins either? I can't keep track.
I mean, I think gay penguins exist in the world, and they're also in books.
Yes, they are.
What?
About all we can say.
I mean, straight men don't dress that well. Look, they're in tuxes all the time. I mean, okay. Also, by the way, Midas Touch tweeted fascism in Florida. Ron DeSantis just removed duly elected Orlando area Democratic State Attorney Monique Worrell from her position. She won her seat with over 66% of the vote. Worrell was the only black woman serving as state attorney in Florida. And here's a guy that said he would pardon Trump. So, he's all about the rule of law, because apparently she wasn't. I mean, this really is fascism, isn't it, Carl? They do not care what the will of the people are. They're just going to cheat any way that they can, which they just tried in Ohio and failed again, right?
They failed miserably in Ohio. And Florida is interesting because, DeSantis isn't just removing people from office that they were elected to, which is a silly power to give any governor.
Yeah.
He also spent millions of dollars to try and remove school board members up and down the state and was successful in many of those cases. Sometimes even in liberal areas, because most school board members struggle to raise any money. So,
that must just burn you up, knowing personally, Carl, how hard it is to achieve what you achieved. How difficult that is to get elected, to raise money, to do. I mean, the fact that some governor can just go, nah. I mean, it is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's baffling that the law in Florida allows such things. Could you imagine if Democrats were taking advantage of those kinds of powers in other places?
Yeah.
If they even exist in other places.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we were just talking about, the story of the morning is this. I hesitate to say poor. If you threaten FBI agents and get shot to death, that's kind of, but it's just lunatic, this MAGA lunatic and I don't know how many of them there are out there, but it threatened the president, threatened Alvin Bragg, anyone else prosecuting Trump, and was shot to death by the FBI yesterday. This is exactly Exhibit A, right? Why he needs to be in jail. There needs to be a gag order, something. I mean, don't you feel like we are playing with fire here?
Clearly, people are very worried about what he will say, what evidence he will release. I mean, look what happened with the Twitter subpoena and, the work around that. So I think he has demonstrated through his actions over the years that he is willing to say and do anything, regardless of the human toll on people, regardless of the toll it takes on men and women in uniform, regardless of the toll it takes on those people's families or our democracy. He will do anything to save his own rear end.
Speaking of what happened in Ohio, we were laughing for the show that everyone from Ann Coulter to Steve Bannon is trying to warn Republicans. Right. I don't know, what is this, the 14th state they've lost in? And I don't, it's funny, Michelle tweeted, how many of you MAGAs are cursing President Biden while your Social Security benefits just went up 8.7% for the first time in many years? Sure. Own the libs while benefiting from their policies. Watch out for good roads and bridges now. Oh no. I mean, this is the whole crux of it, though, isn't it? About people voting against their self-interests versus wanting to own the libs. And as Chris always tells us, owning the libs is more important. I mean,
well, that's what all of these attacks on Biden are about, right? They are an attempt to make Biden, quote unquote, just like all the other politicians, right? To ignore the things that he's delivered for real people in this country, and to get their base to focus on Hunter Biden and a friggin' laptop.
Yeah. And by the way, if they care about corruption, what is the ProPublica story, Jody? Clarence Thomas took at least 38 destination vacations, including an unreported voyage on a yacht around the Bahamas.
Obamas?
That's a short flight around the Obamas because they're in good shape. They're very fit.
Yeah.
So that's just a short trip. Bahamas, pardon me. 26 private jet flights, an additional 8 by helicopter, dozen VIP passes to professional and college sporting events, typically perched in the skybox, 2 stays at luxury resorts in Florida and Jamaica. They don't care about corruption. Hunter Biden, first of all, this one, by the way, I just have to say, our friend Allison Gill said, breaking, an FBI, I'm sorry, no, that's not the one. The gun charge got dropped. Hold, please.
Yeah, it did.
Hold, please. The right-wing Fifth Circuit just struck down the gun charge that Hunter Biden was charged with as unconstitutional. Ha 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 ha. I disagree with this ruling, but you got to admit this is hilarious. So,
It's funny.
Yeah.
gun charge is gone. He missed a tax filing deadline, paid back the taxes. That is the entire Hunter Biden story, right?
Yeah, well, and I feel like I need to take a step back. You're being really mean to Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, I apologize.
You know, I've seen some reporting. I'm just getting it now that there was some turbulence on some of those flights. So it was not all luxury. In fact, I'm told they did not have warm peanuts on 2 of them.
In fairness to him, I hate his insurrectionist wife more. Okay. But I mean, Carl, just on the choice issue, I mean, Rachel Bidikofer said women don't get over having their fundamental rights stripped away. But I don't know what they do about it now. As someone said yesterday, Republicans destroyed Roe, and now Roe is just going to destroy Republicans, and they don't seem to have any way to stop it. And Joe Walsh was saying it's too late for them to stop Trump. Like, they have done this to themselves, this party.
One of the things that they saw in the Kansas abortion initiative was a large number of women who don't traditionally vote turning out to vote, and a lot of them being young. We don't have that data yet for Ohio. It usually takes a couple days or weeks after the election to figure out exactly who voted, and then they can cross-reference it with demographics and stuff like that. But there's no reason to believe that that's any different in Ohio than what happened in Kansas or elsewhere. Mm-hmm. When these issues are put on the ballot, they are energizing women voters. They're turning out in larger numbers. They're making up bigger percentages of the electorate, and they're skewing younger. Mm-hmm. And when you get young people to start voting, they become lifelong voters.
Yeah.
When you establish the habit of voting, it becomes a routine.
Yeah.
And so this is not just a right now problem, and I'm waiting for some reporter to write this story about how this is a generational problem becoming for Republicans, with young women especially.
Oh, yeah.
So, they've made this bed, they're going to have to lie in it, and they're going to have to lose in it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so the Ohio Secretary of State, Frank LaRose, is he the one that's going to run against?
Yes, he's running against White.
Sherrod Brown. I mean, this is a great harbinger for Sherrod Brown, I think. But, I mean, he just... calling, choice a something from the radical left is obviously not playing well. Here he is.
Well, I tell you what, 1.3 million Ohioans stood with us in another free and fair election. We released the results on election night. That's this thing we do in Ohio. Other states should check out. Proud to say that as Ohio's chief elections officer. But you're right, the other side prevailed. This is just one battle in a much larger war, though, because the all-out assault on Ohio is coming from the radical left.
The all-out assault on letting women keep their fundamental rights is coming, everybody.
And not just their fundamental rights to choice and reproductive health care, but also their fundamental right to grievance with their government by having initiatives on the ballot
Right.
to guarantee those rights.
But I mean, he staked his whole. This is his whole issue. Right. It just went up in flames.
Well,
so
he's got to win. So right now, what we're seeing in slow motion, it's kind of like one of those crash test dummies.
Yeah.
We're watching his primary campaign right now, right? Because he's not only did he stake his primary campaign on pulling this off for the far right and stopping this amendment in its tracks in November, but he failed at both of those things.
he is DeSantising himself in Scaramucci like time.
Right.
It's only a matter of time before the white boots get broken out.
But listen, I just want to end with this because we always ask you about this, being on the school board, about parental rights and what that means. Here he is.
I mean, look at the tech billionaires from California and New York that funded the No campaign, and they've got other bad plans. This radical abortion amendment this November that takes away parental rights.
Huh?
Here we go. Like they're phrasing the hat and, books that, I don't know, might contain some Shakespearean bumping of uglies. Parental rights, right?
Parents have rights. We want parents. You will not find a school in the country where they say we do not want our parents involved.
Yeah.
That just does not happen.
Thank you. Exactly. We have to take that issue back among many others in 24. Carl, you once again remain a delight. And it's just, I feel I don't even need to say it anymore.
One plug really quick. Next
Yes.
Thursday evening, Glenn Kirschner and I are doing a Zoom event where he's gonna answer all the questions people have about what's going on with Trump, the third indictment. Maybe there'll be 4 or 5 by then.
Oh, yes.
But people can go to mooksinspace.com. That's mooksinspace.com, and they can join us next Thursday night. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on.
Awesome.
Or as one of our Twitter followers called Glenn, that nice tall glass of milk.